Okay, so what I'm going to start with, I think, is to have a look at the website that has been developed this week, so that anybody who wants to contact us and request support can already go onto the website and request support. This page is on the Ealing and Hounslow CVS site within projects. You can go in and request support there. It'll come up with a very, very short form. It'll take you less than 3 minutes to complete, and that will then allow me to respond to you if you need any support. You can also request support from a digital champion, or you can apply to become a digital champion. So if you go on there, it'll take you straight to our volunteering page, and you can fill in an application if you have some technical skills that you would like to volunteer to provide as support to another group. What we've done this week is we've launched the project. Some of you were at the launch. We've got already started recruiting digital champions. So we have some fantastic people who want to actually provide support to our groups locally. They're starting their journey on their training, because they'll do a certain amount of training before they actually start talking to groups. We've also begun talking to some groups to provide some guidance and support. If you would like some support around improving your digital capacity, or you know a group who's been isolated and unable to work with their clients or their partners because of COVID and because of the isolation, please send them my way. They can call me, they can text me, they can email me. My phone number is on the website, and I'll put it on the chat as well. We'll send out a leaflet that you can print out and share with people as well. So we'll go really old tech, and you can print out an actual piece of paper to give to people. Because some of the feedback we've had is that actually, you know what, the problem with becoming digitally, improving your digital capacity is sometimes you don't have a starting point. So we're going to go right back to the starting point and print out some leaflets, send them out to those of you who can, print and share with anybody you know who might need a little bit of guidance and support around improving their links into their communities, and perhaps particularly really small groups who have felt during COVID that frustration of not actually being able to talk to everybody in your group. Perhaps you need some Zoom sessions just to get familiar with Zoom, a friendly environment in which to practice, do some training on Zoom or on Teams or on other online messaging or meeting platforms. Send them my way, and I'd love to talk to them all. Any questions before I hand on to Julie? Oh, mail, no? Anybody? No? Great. One. Okay, shall I hand on to Julie then, Ian? Oh, Mary, hi.
Yeah, just an organisation I'm aware that has been doing some work, like you've mentioned, Jane,
Yeah.
and with quite a vulnerable group. And they gave they were able to fund some iPads or tablets, but actually, so the organisation assumed that people had internet connection, and a couple of people that have been in touch with me that I do some Zooming with, they don't actually have internet connection. And I think the organisation forgot about that given them a tablet, really they need ongoing support, because they're quite worried about ringing up and, you know, how much it's going to cost to get internet connection, and will somebody have to come to their house, and is that safe? So, you know, I just wanted to mention that because it's something I wouldn't have thought about until.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you haven't got internet connection, then you can't do Zoom.
Yeah.
And I think there's issues of poverty and shortage of money and that around that.
Mary, what you said is absolutely right. We're very aware that there are some very serious digital black spots within the borough where, due to poverty, due to perhaps the lack of internet connection and service providers perhaps not yet going into those areas, there is a really huge difficulty in actually using the online facilities that we've all had to rely on. But at this point, we're going to be working with the organizations, not with the end users, so that they can look at how they continue to meet the needs of those people they haven't been able to reach. So it's not about, from our side, it's not about an organization putting in place a fancy website, although for some that might be necessary. But it might just be about understanding what their residents need so that they can continue to work with them, and what is restricting them in actually engaging with them on media and on the technology that we're using at the moment.
Yeah.
And if you know of organizations that are struggling to connect to their the groups of people that they've engaged with in the past, please send them my way. Send them me a contact number, a name of an organization, and I'll pick up the phone and call them and see how they're doing and see what support they need.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mary, thank you. Anything else?
I think James got a question.
Hello, James. Your sound is off. James? Hi,
yeah,
thanks.
Good morning. Right. Sorry, I'll just join you towards the end of your talk. I get the idea of roughly what you're trying to do. You mentioned about capacity. If you're going to work with individuals, you're going to be stretched. I understand there are other organisations who's got digital champions for various fundings, who have maybe a little bit of spare capacity, and also talked about the data access. I work with schools at the moment. Within the school environment, we found that the devices is a problem, ranging from not having laptops or even tablets and so on. So there was a lot of money pumped into it through the government. But what about the data SIMs? There are some data SIMs provided, and also if you're on a mobile network, I understand they're extending for the government recently. They're extending the limit, the data usage limit, but that's aiming at the school and students level. Is there a government initiative on the one for the community, VCS, or just basically people in poverty or sort of in a situation where they find themselves, in need?
Okay. Thank you, James. There are a number of initiatives, and we're trying to identify everything that we can find and putting them in what we've called our toolbox, which is on the website, so that if you know somebody who needs support, there will be links on our website as well to anything that we know is happening, both top down from the government and amongst other organizations. And you're quite right, digital champions are something that has been rolled out by a number of different organizations. And again, we're not going to be saying, well, we've got the digital champions for Hounslow. If we hear of an organization with digital champions who are available, we'll be connecting with them as well, so that we can extend our network with them and work alongside them and share their information with our community. In terms of funding specifically, to support digital capacity, we'll be going back to Ian for the funding streams, because he knows who's available and where the funding is. If we find something specific, and there have been specific funding streams for digital, we'll be putting them on our website as well. Is that okay, James? And let's connect. So please send me an email and we'll discuss it further, because it sounds as though you've got brilliant ideas there. Anybody else?
Jane, hi, I'm Janine.
Hi, Janine.
Deaf Women's Group that meets in Ealing. We have additional issues because we have language with deafness. We need sign language support, also low literacy, if we have any English literacy. So yeah, maybe I can talk to you later. This is a real big barrier for community when everything is relying on visual and auditory. And a lot of written text support. So I'd love to talk to you about that later.
Absolutely. And what Janine says is that, you know, what you're saying, Janine, is absolutely pertinent to a wide range of our groups. There is a communication barrier for a lot of our end users, whether it's because they need sign language or they need a different kind of visual because they've got some kind of visual impairment or something that they need a specific kind of tool. And again, one of the sites that we are really keen to promote is AbilityNet. They give a lot of support, and there are a lot of tools available that we can use to make whatever you're doing more accessible to other people.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I think,
that's fine.
Okay, thanks, Jane.
All right.
Now Julie's going to talk about her experiences working with the food bank.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me today. I'm very new to Ealing and Hounslow CVS. This is my third week, but I'm a part-time 2.5 days a week, so still finding my way. So it was great to be here today and meet some other people from Ealing and Hounslow. So my role is working on the Help Through Crisis project, and also I'll be when our restrictions lift, we'll be working on opening an advice hub in the West Ealing Library. And interestingly enough, following on from what Jane was saying, one of the things we'll have in the West Ealing Library will be some digital access. And people will be able to come in and book and use our computers. Obviously, it doesn't solve all the problems with digital poverty, but it gives people an opportunity to at least come in and search the internet and do job applications and things they need to do that they might not have access for. So what I was going to talk about today is how I found my way into Ealing and Hounslow CVS, which was through volunteering. And like a lot of people, when the COVID crisis hit, I was put on furlough from a job I'd been in for 15 years. And all of a sudden, I'm thrown into that, loss of that work community, loss of that routine, which kind of follows along with this loneliness theme that we were talking about today. And my thought was, I need to look around and find something to combat these feelings and to make this time of furlough be a time in my life that was something good. None of us knew how long it was going to last. None of us knew a year later we'd still be in the same feeling like we're in the same position. So I dug around and found the Help Through Crisis project, which is one of our projects at Ealing and Hounslow CVS. And my role as a volunteer was sort of twofold, which was nice. It was very varied. And I would have a session in the Ealing Food Bank, which again, because of COVID, everything was restricted to people who were coming in person to our branch in Hanwell, St. Mellitus Church. And I would be on site really just talking to people. And what I found is so many people like me. I mean, I'm very fortunate in the fact that I have a strong family network and I have my friends, and but people were finding themselves using the food bank for the very first time, finding themselves in had been in very secure jobs, and but maybe it was a 0 hours contract, or they were cleaner and could no longer get into their clients' homes. They're mobile hairdressers, same issue, and it was a real period of loneliness. They lost again that network that they'd had and the routine. And I think having us volunteers there, just being able to share their experiences and share our own. But also we had legal experts on site who who we could navigate them towards, and they could be much more talking to them about their housing issues or debt arrears. And then following on, the second part of my volunteer role would be after what we call the crisis navigator. These legal experts could identify how they could help the client. I might then be following up with them on the phone saying, oh, we met at the food bank. I need to get some further information from you in order to progress this application you're doing with our legal expert. And that might be, you need to send in your bank statements, or we need to work out what your monthly outgoings are. And again, it was another opportunity to just chat to people and maybe direct them. I had a client who was undergoing cancer treatment, and I'd also been volunteering the Mulberry Center. And so I happened to know they were doing a lot of things online. And she was telling me, oh, I miss having that opportunity to go into the site. And so again, it was just another way to navigate people to where maybe they could get help that I might know of just from being that volunteer role. So it was, but it was a real privilege to me to be able to help people, and to make me feel that was relieving maybe my feelings of loneliness and feeling that I was giving back and benefiting myself. And then the job came up at Ealing and EHCVS to coordinate the project, and applied, and here I am. But as I said, I'll be carrying on with that project, but also once we're helping people in those crisis moments, when we have our advice hub open, hopefully, which we're aiming to do once we hear what Boris has to say on Monday. We're hoping to open it in June. We can then have some further support within the library that people then can come to, addressing maybe more specific issues than just food poverty that they're coming while they're at the food bank. And as I mentioned, having some digital access while they're there. One of the things, again, we're hoping to do is to offer people digital support when they're filling out their census application. Again, and we have to know that we can open to help people to do that. But so it's a great project. I'm delighted to be on the team and to do, find my way and contribute to what we have to offer. So again, that's what I had to say. And thank you again for inviting me today. I don't know if there's any questions. I hope I could answer any if there are, but I'm Julie at ehcvs.org.uk. If anyone wants to drop me an email or link up with us, I'd be happy to join in any conversations. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Any questions for Julie?
Hi, Julie. Good morning.
Morning.
Fantastic work you're doing.
Thank you.
And you got a reward out of it. You got a lovely job.
I do. Thank you.
Now,
I feel very
quickly,
lucky.
my question is very simple. I just want to find out. You mentioned that you are able to support people that actually can come forward and ask you for help. But what advice can you give to someone that is dealing with people that are really, it's very difficult for them to display or show the need they have in terms of shame? Because I did a little support into a food bank as well. And what I noticed in my community is there is a lot of people that actually need help, but it's very difficult for them to express it. Any advice you can give me on that?
Well, I think that's why we're hoping, and as I said, to have that advice hub open, because as you say, there are some communities, one of the things we found is that some communities are maybe better resourced as far as food poverty. So we're only seeing some people coming into the food bank, where some people, as you say, either would be hesitant to come in, or maybe the food isn't their issue and it's something else. And I think that's all I could say, at least for now, is that having to open up a physical space that's welcoming. And I hadn't been in the West Ealing Library for years, but I recently saw one of my colleagues did a video of it, and it's a really cozy, quite open, good location place. And I think what would be helpful and if anyone has any suggestions, is I would certainly be reaching out to people in Ealing and Hounslow to say, if you have these expertise, we need help in this. So if there's any particular, health or mental health or any issues that you think we could be supporting people on, what I'd like to do is them to reach out to those experts so we can say, we have someone who deals with this issue on a Thursday at 2, or we have someone who can particularly help people who are hearing impaired on Fridays at 5, whatever it is. We can have a little schedule, and so that we can, but so if anyone has any ideas on particular areas that they're thinking, we really need to crack this, that would be great for me. And then I can start framing it up. So as I said, we're kind of working towards a June time frame where we don't really, but we still don't really know what the restrictions are and when they're going to lift. So we just have to keep plowing forward and hope that, we're going to reach the end of that tunnel and be able to open it. So any ideas are most appreciated. And we'll work on it, and we'll try and structure it so it meets the needs of the people's needs that there are. Thanks. I hope that was okay.
Thank you.
Mukesh?
Yeah, hi. It's wonderful. Hi. It's wonderful to hear the work you're doing, Julie. I'm part of a number of organisations, but the one we work specifically with food banks is I'm a member of Hounslow Rotary, and what we did was we adopted a number of the food banks, specifically who we had links with in the past, and identified gaps where they needed help. But one of the important things which they've been doing recently, because of the increase in the number of refugees, the issue around bringing a little voucher or a token or something to say, I need help. What the church has done instead is they've tried to service all the people who come with the coupon or the token, and then afterwards they try to help those individuals who don't have any form of identity or some sort of registration, because most food banks will say, well, go to your social worker or go to your GP or go wherever, and ask them to give you a little token with and we'll give you 3 days worth of food. Yes. Now that's not necessarily the case when you're a refugee. No, when you don't have that. So what the church has decided to do is initially service everybody who has a token, then help and service those who don't, but at the same time take their details, and then, I hate to use the word signpost, because signposting means it's not my problem, go somewhere else and they might help you. Yes, it's actually real help. They will actually send them to a real person who can actually really help them. So when anybody in any of these meetings I attend says I'm signposting, I'm not interested, because that means there's no real genuine help there. It's just saying, here's a piece of paper, go there, and you're sent from pillar to post. And these people don't have money to be able to get on a bus. They have to make a choice between heat and eat. Yeah. So I'm very much on side with what you're saying, but I'm also very pleased that especially the churches and the faith groups, they've recognized that not everybody can actually have a token or a coupon to be able to exchange for food. So I'm just highlighting that this is what's happening in my local church here in Hounslow. I think that's a great idea, because we had a client who turned up and needed some specific legal immigration advice, and our advisor said, we don't do this, but Julie, here's a solicitor that does do this. And the next week she came, so I emailed her, and the next week she came in and it was all sorted. And there are those moments, they may be too few and far between, where you think, we did something good today because we found the right person. As you say, we didn't just kind of throw it at her. We found the right person. We contacted her and said, this is the person you need. And she didn't even realize
who she just said, oh, someone emailed me, and I just wanted to let you know, you know, and she went from, you know, this tall to this tall. It was just.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, especially
yes.
with the issues which we're going to talk about in terms of mental health and issues.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased that that's the approach which you're doing, the same as I do. I tend to do the things rather than, you know, say to somebody, go and speak to this person. I go and speak to that person and then I deal with it. Otherwise, they'll just go from pillar to post.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And then they come back in 6 weeks and they know further on. And certainly I found that with being a volunteer, with some of the digital poverty issues, that was the thing where you think, you know, they started out maybe here and then came down there over time when not being able to reach out. So I think that's something we can really work towards it in keeping that connection, making the connection.
Daljit.
Hi, good morning all. Couple of
Morning.
questions here. First, I would like to share, we ran the food bank last summer. We distributed about 1,500 parcels of food.
Wow.
And about 15,000 cooked meals. Now, I found it very difficult, although we have 650 members and most of them are 60 plus, and we are based in Norwood Green. But we were fortunate that we were able to partner with two churches, St. Mary's Church and St. Luke's Church, and also the two schools. So I found that it was beneficial to everyone that we partner with various organizations.
Yes.
So my members could put the parcel together. They could probably cook the food and made up all the little takeaway containers, but they could not drive. They could not take it because of the age. And so we had to have people dial a ride, people like that who we sort of hooked in. So I think it has to be a multi-agency approach. And the other approach, what I or my group developed was that no questions asked. Because we felt when people came to us, they were very proud people, you know.
Yes.
It bring tears to you. And I used to, even now I talk and I'm getting emotional.
Yes.
I used to be in my office and shed a couple of tears. Because you can see they're proud people. They've come to you with like a begging bowl. It's not, I shouldn't be using that phrase, but that's literally what it was. And if I start asking probing questions, where are you here? How much money have you got in the bank? And what sort of, I think, you know, that was a totally not an acceptable approach.
Yes.
That is one thing, and I would like to further discuss this and maybe work with you.
Lovely.
Yeah, together, because, and the other thing is all through the pandemic, as I said, we have all older people, but I was very fortunate. My colleague, Narinder, he's very IT driven. He's on us on a different platform today, but you know, we rolled out the Zoom sessions. Now it started up with 5 people, and now we got 45. On an average session, we have about 90 or 100. So I'm quite happy with that. You know, getting
very good
150 people, and they're all elderly. Okay, we had to work hard with them. My colleague had to really, every day he was training them, press this button and do this. But eventually we got there. And I find that has been more beneficial because we can communicate with them directly and they in turn can communicate with another, maybe 2 or 3 people.
Yes.
So every week we are communicating about 150 people because they've got friends who cannot get on the Zoom, but they ring them.
Yes.
But the thing which I am now noticing within my members is, obviously we knew loneliness and isolation was an issue, but I'm seeing when they talk to me now on that Zoom session, their mental health seemed to be something of becoming of a concern. And that is an area I think we'll need to start focusing on and start really prioritizing.
Yes.
Especially older people, mental health issues have become more apparent now because they're stuck indoors. They can't hug their grandchildren, things like that, normal things which people used to do. So
Yes.
I think jointly we can do so much. Singularly, it's very difficult. We cannot invent a tool, then also deliver it, or we are reinventing some things. So I think a platform like this would definitely be beneficial if we can have separate teams. Somebody might want to work on a gardening project, for example, and there are a few of us getting together doing that, another on the mental health issues. And I think that way we can help each other. So that was.
Yes, I think well done for finding those partners whose skills could complement each other. Because
we were actually extremely fortunate that the schools head teachers, the vicar at St. Mary's was most helpful, and we joined up with Southall Community Alliance. We had people coming on board. Once you are rolling out, people hear about you and they say, oh, we got 2 or 3 people free. They'll come and pick up your parcels and deliver to a certain place. Yes. So I think that sort of partnerships which we develop, we can enhance on them and benefit. But as you know, in some organization, there are only a few people who seem to be running left, right, and center, and their capacity soon runs out. So yes. I think if we have other equally enthusiastic people in other organizations, I'm sure we can benefit more.
I agree. Yeah, well done. But I think it's good to highlight, as you say, the mental health issues will be something that...
It is one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to...
I'm very keen to work on that.
Yes.
You got our name. We got a website.
Yes.
Visit it and we can get in touch. And we
Brilliant.
can start working.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think Narinda had this hand up, but they've taken it down.
Hi, thanks, Ian. Yeah, I just wanted to underline what Diljit just said, actually. Like one of the, on the mental health issues, the things that we've found recently really has been the COVID death rates that where previously people knew, we heard about people on the news and through the media. It's now come a lot closer to home, given the rates in Ealing and Hounslow, and people do know people who passed away, people in their families have passed away, and it is very close to home now, and that seems to be having clearly a huge impact on people's mental health at the moment in terms of their own security and their own outlooks.
Yeah, you're right. As you say at the beginning, it seemed somewhere else, and now it's RW postcodes that are so vulnerable, and yeah, it is an issue we'll have to keep thinking about how we work with.
Any more questions, Julie? Or James? You're on mute.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to ask him the question. We have, we're running the organization for calling the ELACE organization, and also the way we contribute, the food and different way. One is we give people vouchers, we give sometimes dry food, but the people they keep on asking for the hot food.
Yeah.
But especially people who had a mental health, who live in the area, they don't have a hot food, and some area they can, they grab it food, especially homeless people. But I'm suggest if they create, the place people can go and they eat, the hot food. That's why I'm asking you if they are available, if they create that.
I think we do have a list, and I'll try and make sure it's more visible on our website, of places that in Ealing that serve hot food through the week. And I know that's something as a volunteer we had at the food bank that we would give to people, so it wasn't just the food that you could take away and cook yourself. There were places where you could get a hot meal in Ealing. So let me make sure I find that, make sure it's up to date, and put it more visibly on our website. I think there's another question, Mukesh.
Yeah, Hassan, this is Mukesh here. We've known each other for too many years. But I was going to say to you, Is your office still in Bedfont, or have you moved from there?
Yeah, I'm dealing.
No, is your office in Bedfont, or is it has it moved? Oh,
No, it's a platform.
Yeah. So in Hounslow, you're familiar with the open kitchen. They will provide you with hot meals, and if you need 10 or 20 hot meals, if you talk to Dr. Chowdhury, he has the facility to be able to bring 10 to 20 hot meals to within Hounslow, and that's between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and that's 7 days a week.
Brilliant.
And then in the evening, only in the past month, the Al Mustafa Welfare Trust, they have started producing hot food, and they are distributing from the Jamia Mosque on the Wellington Road South. So you can collect from there and then distribute locally. So it's not the answer for what your residents might want, but they can turn up personally and collect a meal, right? No questions asked. Or if you want to become a kind of sub-distribution center, because the meals are hot, if people know that you're collecting the food, say at 1 o'clock, and then you'll be back in Bedfont by 1:30, they can come at 1:30 and collect the hot food. And then the same can be done in the evening with the Al Mustafa Welfare Trust. And if you email me privately, because you've got my email address, I can give you their details. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think James is going to ask something on you.
Just in terms of your role, Julie, is it?
Yes.
What's the age group, or are you aiming at groups, or are you aiming at individual, and what sort of age group are you targeting?
Well, when we start to open the advice hub, I think it's a broad spectrum. We haven't streamlined it down to any particular age group. I think it's still an informative stage, to be honest, and so therefore I think that's why it's good to get these collective meetings together where we can try and identify what are going to be the best use of that physical space for people to come in. So James, if you have any particular age groups or, as I said, issues that you think would be great for us to have that physical space for, please do let us know.
No, just that you got age concern down the road.
Yeah.
I know that your chair, or was it your chief exec, used to be part of the age concern. Is that correct? Isn't it? You know, yeah.
Barbara Tilley from Age UK Barbara Tilley was our chief exec. She's now left, but before working with us, she was chief exec of Age UK Ealing.
Right.
Okay.
So there is a bit of an overlap if you start doing something, or maybe work in partnership with Age UK, being so close to it. And I think St. James's Church has some sort of outreach things as well. So, and also you're right on the doorstep of new housing development at the back of Wilkinson. There's a big housing project, you know, and that's still growing. So you're almost right in the center of the needs are, where the needs are. So, you know, there are various groups dotted around the area in West Ealing, and that's an ideal place. And next door, above your library, you got the Old Grady Court, literally, which is a care home for elderly people. And that's, you know, you could, you know, they're not too far for them to travel to come down to West Ealing, to the library itself. And that's you know, there's a lot of very interesting people I met there before when I used to. And there's also another one across the road, the other side. Let me see, around the back of Waitrose, that area. And there's another care home around that sort of area as well. So there's various care homes. If you know, those are the one that you might want to do outreach around there. But Old Grady, I think, being not so far away, you don't need to necessarily. But the one slightly further, the other side of the Uxbridge Road, that care home, they're always very active in there, and they always have something going on. I think the lady who used to run it, I don't know if she's still there or not, because it's been a while since I've really been involved in Ealing, because I worked abroad for a few years myself. So there's lots of partnership we can form around there, because obviously capacity is another issue. You know, everyone wants volunteers, everyone wants sort of help group, but it's, you know, if you start overlapping each other, then you just not utilizing all the resources correctly.
Yes, that's a good point. Very good point. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, Deepa's got your hand raised.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm representing Lola from Lolo Foundation. This is the organisation that's been feeding the homeless for over 15 years. In fact, Lola's stories is quite remarkable, but I definitely agree with everyone with regards to mental health. And, you know, I've got a number of elderly people, 60s onwards, really suffering at the moment with food deprivation, loneliness, suicidal thoughts, all kinds of aspects. And I think it would be really good to kind of see what we can kind of do, you know, as a group. And I know there's so many different aspects that we're trying to cover here, but just going back, Mukesh, it would be really, I would really appreciate if you could send that listing across, because I personally come across a lot of people always looking for meals, etc. And like yourselves, I'm very much so the type of person that will do all the calling and the chasing just to make sure that that end person receives what they need, as opposed to the ongoing referral process. With regards to Lola, she herself prepares meals. She's got a kitchen, etc., all set up, professional kitchen, and she we're actually looking at and mapping out, looking for a permanent location to be able to continue this amazing work from, because the need is growing. And we actually cover all different age groups. We cover young families to all to the elderly, etc. So yeah, I would definitely appreciate the listing of the organisations that you've mentioned. And obviously, I think it'll be great to kind of obviously get some information, or see how we can get Lola's details on the system as well, as a place and a point of contact for families or people in need of food. Now with Lola, there's no referral. Whoever needs help, there's no stigma, there's no you know, questions asked, because right now it's a pandemic and the need and necessity is just growing.
Yes.
So Julie, I'd love to speak to you too. That's okay.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
And
also,
brilliant.
I just want to say, because mental health is coming up, quite Parul speaking here, mental health is coming up quite a lot at the moment. We are going to be doing a session on mental health on the 5th of March, I believe.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.
Mary?
Can I also request Mukesh and whoever is distributing food to pass it through Ian, so that they can circulate this information, because it is pandemic. We don't know how to get access to the food outlet and blah blah. So if you can get the contacts, and Mukesh especially, he mentioned Amos that distribute hot food is very important, because we have choice with the elderly people as well. So it's very important if we have those contacts, and then with Lon and with Mark and whoever at the
yeah, the two churches I work very closely with are St. Paul's Church at Hounslow West, and St. Luke's and St. Mary's. Both of them work with St. Paul's Church anyway. And then you have All Souls in Isleworth on the A316. They work very closely with the Ivy Bridge estate. So I've actually got a list of all these things. So what I'll do is I'll send it to Ian the last time I updated it, and then he can distribute it. Plus there's another chap who's actually been doing a lot of good work in our area, a guy called Matt Skinner. I've got his distribution list as well, which literally says in Ealing and in Hounslow, where you can get a meal every day whether it's a hot meal or a cold meal, and even links with appropriate organizations. So I'll try and get both of those documents to Ian, and then when he sends out his normal mail shot, he can do that.
And the mosque, you said mosque, you mean mosque, the big one or the smaller one?
The big mosque is on the Wellington Road South, which is the Jama Masjid.
Yes, if you can get that one as well, please.
That's, and then that's in the evening. They do that through the Al Mustafa Welfare Trust. But I'll get you those specific details, because my own Rotary Club, we've worked with Al Mustafa during the Christmas period, where we were helping young people, and we distributed, I think, about 200 meals, not 200 meals, 200 food parcels, which was, and each food parcel was for 1 week's worth of food during the Christmas period, when it's the most hardest to get anything, especially if you're on your own.
That will be helpful if you can get it. Thank you.
Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I'm writing for well-being practitioner, and you know, I'm aware of the isolation and I suppose increased isolation amongst people since the lockdown. So what I do, I'm doing a couple on Zoom at the moment, is run writing for well-being sessions, and that you may not be familiar with that, but it's not creative writing. It's just a group of people that come together and write from prompts that I would give, also just about how they're feeling, what's going on for them. But a big part of it is also making connections with other people in the community. So it's a very good way of combating isolation and, you know, making connections with other people so that people, you know, what have we got in common, sharing experiences, having a laugh, and we always have a coffee break. Obviously doing the sessions in real time is much better than doing it on Zoom, but Zoom is works quite well too. So I suppose I think it is something that's really needed, a way of getting people together once this COVID thing gets a bit better, getting people out again. And so if anybody wants to contact me, that's what I do.
Thank you.
And from my experience working with the groups that I work with, a group of people, probably most of them would be in over 60s, and then with another disability group in Hammersmith. And again, it's been very useful over the lockdown period for people to be able to talk on Zoom, or some of them that don't have Zoom, I talk to them individually on the phone. And for some of those people, I'm actually the only contact they have every week, which is really makes me feel very sad, but you know, good at the same time. That is the only contact. There's one person that I ring, and his voice, when I speak to him, he's very hoarse, and he always apologizes because he said, you know, I haven't spoken to anybody all week, so I'm a bit hoarse.
Oh.
So I think there is a huge need, and because people have become more isolated, I think it's going to be, there's a need to get people out again in the community. It's not going to be easy for people to get back out and get into groups, you know, even when they're available. So I think there's a lot of scope and a lot of need to get people together and to try to, and I think that in turn helps mental health and enhances people's mental health by being able to come out and talk at the moment, Zoom or otherwise. So that's just, I just wanted to say that. And my email is there.
Thank you.
I wanted to say Mind is also running a Limit Loneliness project. We have details put up on the site, but you can always go onto the Mind website and refer that to people who really need it at this point, because mental health has become something that which is coming out as a big topic or a big issue at this point. Thank you.
Yeah, so we were hoping to have Beverly Five from AGK Hounslow talk today. Unfortunately, she had to pull out. So we will try and arrange her to come along to a future session, because I think they might be doing kind of befriending services. So I think, like what Mary's talking about, telephone befriending would be an ideal kind of service for the person you were supporting. But yeah, in its place, Mukesh has volunteered to just give a little update about all the groups he's involved with and how isolation has impacted them. You're mute.
Just unmute. Yeah, just unmuted myself. If any of you haven't met me before, I'm very much involved with the local community, primarily through my work in Rotary. But in Hounslow, what we've been doing is, as we've discovered during this COVID period since March, like most of you have recognized, we can't do everything. So we've gone down the road of, one being understanding what the gaps are between what the local authority is providing and what other organizations are able to provide, and then facilitating, so bringing people together. But before I do that, I wanted to just say something about the mental health thing, because I'm also a trustee on Disability Network Hounslow, and Disability Network Hounslow covers all aspects of disability, and we work very closely with organizations like Speak Out, 2000 Club, the autism groups, so that at least there is a voice for many of them. And then when we've gone along to the local authority, they recognize the work we do. Now, one of the key things we found, and it's all down to, you can blame me, is that back in March, once the pandemic happened, the first thing I did was all of the charitable work and all the community work I did, we migrated from being monthly meetings to being online meetings. So my first job was to train all of the trustees of the various groups I was in. And that's made a huge difference, because then we were able to roll it out to our clients. And with our Disability Network hat on, what we did is, instead of having our regular meeting physically at the Star Centre on the Bell Road, we actually met online. And most people said to me, you're dealing with people who have disabilities. They won't be able to do any of this stuff. How wrong they were. We decided that we will begin initially on a weekly basis on a Saturday morning, about 11:30 or 12 o'clock, and we'll actually break bread with each other. In other words, we'll have a sandwich or a cup of tea together, so that we could still keep our links virtually rather than physically. And that way people could still say hello to each other and see a face, and a friendly face at that, because that's what we provided as part of the mental health thing. One of the key things which I want to kind of highlight to everybody is that when people talk about mental health, I think the key thing is the best feelings you can give someone with mental health issues are as follows. One, make them not feel that they're not a burden. Two, that they can talk to you about anything and not feel judged. And that's really important, because before you would have face-to-face conversations, and if someone started crying, you could be on there, be there as a shoulder to cry on. Then there aren't enough even on their bad days, so that if it is a bad day for them, be there to be able to speak to them, even if it's over the telephone. But because we're dealing with people with disabilities, some of them, can't even do that. But we will try and talk to them and give them that support. Also recognize and let them see your face, that smiley face. You won't, body language over Zoom is really important. And you probably notice I keep smiling. It's because that's what I'm used to doing, that you're showing them love and affection. And you don't have to be physically there. As long as they can see your face and they can see that you're smiling, they feel that closeness as well. And then the feeling of safety on their darkest days, because we do have to deal with sometimes during this period. The biggest problem we're having with mental health issues is people feeling worthless, and it becomes like an abyss. It just gets worse and worse. And sometimes, I'm sorry to say, is that contemplation of suicide, we can't even reach them before it's already happened. I know the work the Samaritan does is an amazing role, but unless someone is prepared to call the Samaritans, there's not a lot you can do. And at this time, because of the fact that many of them have been told to stay indoors since the 23rd of March last year, and only this week, many of them have also told us that they've received letters from the Department of Health telling them that they should stay indoors until the 31st of March, rather than waiting, the lockdown being perhaps lifted up, depending on what Boris says. But they've received emails if they're critically ill, and in that shielding group, of which many of them are because they have disabilities. And you've got to remember is that only recently the government have actually recognized that the number of people who are dying within the disability world has actually increased, and there wasn't enough effort put in to try and get them vaccinated. They came in at a different priority level, and that's made a terrible situation for many of them. And even after we get the lockdown lifted, many of them will not want to leave their house. It's going to be a slow, gradual process. And I hope that I've given you some food for thought, especially if we want to carry on discussing this about mental health issues. These are things which I personally highlight whenever I do talk about mental health issues, that it's really important to retain that trust, whether it's over the phone, whether it's in a text, in any form of communication, because we can't give them a hug anymore, which is what they're so used to when they needed some sort of support. And having a cup of tea with them, even if it's over a Zoom call, have a cup of tea with them, and it'll make a huge difference. I'm going to stop there because I think it'd be good for other people to comment on what I've said, and it would be good to hear that there's some really good suggestions from other people rather than just me blabbering on. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, thanks, Mukesh.
Good people.
Any questions, comments?
And you want to wave their hand at me? Oh, there's someone. Deepa's got a hand up.
Hi there, Mukesh. I totally agree with you. I really think what is really paramount right now is for a really good structured befriending scheme. All the points you raised about keeping in touch and that regular contact, not judging them. It's so paramount. I've got a number of people that have heard about the work I'm doing and I'm liaising with on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of organizations tend to promise them a lot of things, but none deliver, because what they tend to do is they hear about the person's story, but they don't have the necessary skills all the time to see it through. So what I'm really, really keen to kind of to discuss and to see what we can implement is a really good befriending scheme, because these things are really important for them. One of the gentlemen I'm dealing with, he hadn't eaten for 21 days and has contemplated, every single day ending his life because he's lonely. He's got no one to talk to, nobody to speak to. Relationships have come to an end, and there's nobody in his close proximity. There's no community that will give him half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, just to say, hi, how are you? How is your day? What can we do? What are you going to be doing today? Just to kind of take their mindset away from that deep, dark, negative hole that they're all in.
Well, just to respond to that, Deepa, I was going to just say that you really ought to be part of our trustee board, because you sound like you just got all the right things of saying things. But also the thing is that we've treated all of our clients as part of our family, and the board members, many of them also have disabilities. Now, having that empathetic voice, it also helps as well. So I think with our connections with a number of disability groups, both visible and invisible disabilities, I think it's really important that having a strong voice, and that's what's happening, that some of the disability organizations are actually folding because of financial issues and the loss of members. So it's really important that when we come out of this lockdown, or even before that, more partnerships and more consolidation of working together, like some of the things you talked about. I think it'd be really good if you just went on the website, onto Disability Network Hounslow, and even consider volunteering to become a trustee. It's not difficult to become a trustee, and there's not much pain either, but you'll suddenly find so much enrichment. So please do that, or contact me privately. All right?
No, I will definitely. And I think I do work with the missionaries as well. And I know that, again, you know, this information would be really good to pass on to them as well, or to have some form of you know, forwarding this information to those people that are at these food banks, that come to these soup kitchens, because they are absolutely in absolute dire need of services like this, because they're feeling alone, they're feeling so vulnerable, you know, and I think it's also really important for them to know that these organizations are not here to take them apart, but to bring them together, to help you know, support them, which is really, really important. And I feel, because of the way the government is and whatever's going on, you know, within the government departments, people feel very let down at the moment. So, yeah.
Okay, Ian, over to you.
I think Lisa had your hand up quickly.
Yeah. Hi, Mukesh. Would you post your contact details on?
It is on the chat box already, but I'll do it again.
All right. I've just scrolling up, I've missed it. I'm trying to encourage exercise, disability, well, in a more inclusive and cohesive program. And that would include people with disabilities as well. And it just struck me that even before, because I have done some research, and I've done a mental health awareness and sport course, and just what you've said about it's okay starting programs, but there's going to be actually a long time to try to prepare people to actually have the confidence to come out. And it will be, you know, needing a lot of conversations there of what they want, what their fears are, because I could come up with a fantastic idea, but, you know, we need to give people enough time to actually overcome their fear and gain confidence. So that's going to be, yeah, it's probably a good idea to us to discuss things and think of a good way forward. But I'm very much wanting to have an inclusive approach to exercise, physical activity, combating loneliness, because they're also interlinked, and it just forms a holistic approach of dealing with people's well-being.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about getting people to come back out again is going to be letting them come back to familiar locations. The constant thing I always get is, do you know when the Star Centre is going to open again? Do you know when the Mission Hall in Brentford is going to open again? It's places which they are familiar with and comfortable. And I think that's the first step. And then the work we have in Hounslow, which was done prior to the pandemic, of having more open gyms, you know, the gyms which are in the various parks, that they were being used by many of the disability groups to actually help people to not, you know, the ones who can stand up and do things fine, but they also had facilities for people who were in wheelchairs or had other forms of disability. So there's definitely a phased approach after the pandemic, but getting them to talk to you over Zoom or any other web tool or a simple phone is going to make a huge difference. Okay, good
Lisa,
to talk to you.
Lisa, are you doing Zoom exercise at the moment for groups?
Myself, I'm swimming based, so I'm doing Zoom exercises. My swimmers are doing Zoom exercises for each other, but it's something that we can discuss. So I could actually find people who would be really useful as well that would be able to deliver that. So I could
please,
yeah.
If anybody has a Zoom exercise for before the lockdown or after, then we were happy to have their contact. Yeah, please.
I think Shanji had your hand up.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. What a lovely messages I'm hearing. Yeah, Mr. Malhotra, well done.
Sharanjit, why do you call me that all the time? Just say
You
Mukesh to me.
You are our star. You are our star because you're doing 10 people's job yourself than just one of you. Okay, the food, first of all, the food bits. There is nothing in the Heston area. Right, there are 2 or 3 organizations we would like to get together. We've been offered the food share from food share to supply us the food on regular basis, but we would like to have a premises in Heston area, which is very near the Heston road we are looking for. I don't know how to go about it, but we would like to, use the premises of the church or something. We can open the food to the food bank to the Heston people, because a lot of them have a disability and can't go far a lot. And also the traveling is also a problem. And if we have anything local in Heston, it'll be easy to deliver to the Heston local people as well. Another thing, I'm running art and craft club every Friday 2 till 3 for people to join in. I'm Shanjit from Sunshine of Hounslow. So we are running art and craft club, which people can join from their own home. We basically deliver them making the cards, greeting cards. We have a package of greeting cards. We deliver it to your doorstep, and then you create a card each week and join the art club as well. For children, we have drawing and coloring books. That is a part of the package for the children. The cards are for adults or senior, we have 4 generations working together with this group. Another one is for moms who would like to knit. We have a knitting club for them. This is a part of one club. So everybody is engaged with us. Whoever wants to do what, they give us a list what they want to do. So we go and drop them on their doorstep, or they come and collect it from us. So within the local areas. So it's for 8 weeks only. So today is our 3rd week. 1st of March, we are starting a yoga club from Zoom meeting from home. Please do keep in touch if you would like to join through Sunshine of Hounslow. Is on the Facebook and website as well. All the details, I can give my email address and phone number here as well in the chat box. You can join with the Zoom link. So I've been teaching over, bless you. I've been teaching over, could you, Hussein, could you mute your phone, please? Because we can all hear you. It's easy. Yeah. The Zoom link, we can send it to whoever wants to join. So you can start the Zoom from home. This is for 18 weeks of yoga every Monday, 11 till 12. But in the meantime, we are looking for more funding, which we can give everybody more classes during the week as well. So hopefully we are hoping to increase 3 classes a week. I've been teaching over 22 years. I've been teaching yoga. And I just turned 60 last week. So that imagine how long, you know, I've started yoga in my middle age. So,
and I always thought you were 21, Sharon.
Thank you. I'm just walking behind you. Don't worry. So the yoga will give people flexibility in their own home, in their own security and safety, in their own environment. We also have a community allotment, which we join with the social distance every Saturday, 12 till 3, provided the lunch with it as well.
Hey, thanks for that, Shanji.
Yeah, please guide us to find a place in Heston, please. If anybody can, please guide us or help us to find a better, either a church or a hall where we can operate from.
I've given our email we can join you with your yoga. So that is our email, or any existing exercises. If any organization is doing, can give us their link, their Zoom link, and we can join.
Okay, thanks for that. Acacia Community Centre, sorry, I forgot your name. HPC.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. Yeah. I just wanted to talk to Mukesh. As Ian is aware, we have formed this community. It's a Somali community, which, to be honest with you, they have a lot of people with disability, but they're not aware of, and even myself, I'm a disabled person, but I was not even aware of what you do, which is incredibly good thing, because there is a lot of people out there who are isolated and everything else. But because of lack of awareness at the moment, they are even worse than before. They're inside their houses. And since we created this Acacia group, most people who contacted was people with disability who lack of exercise or lack of, people to talk to, have been asking me what I will be able to do for them. Thanks to Ian, I was able to join this group. So now that I have your email and everything else, I'll try to contact you, because I have a lot of people who do not know you are out there, but there is a lot of help which I can see you provide. And thank you so much. I've listened to your speech, and what you do is great, very good for people with disability. And as I say, I myself, I was disabled. Some of the things you do, I was looking for it, but I didn't know where to go and get them. That's the issue. So sometimes to get those information is very, very important. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks. Rahila.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rahila, and I work with the Organization Center for Human Development. We work for social, economic, and political empowerment of women. My question is to Jane. We have applied through Ealing Hounslow CVS website for volunteer roles. Unfortunately, we haven't got any response. And at the same time, we applied to do it, and we got many responses from people from Birmingham, from Wales, from Manchester. But we want to get connected with our local community. We want to have our local volunteers. So what are you doing to increase the visibility of the organization of Ealing Hounslow CVS, so that more people can apply and we can get more people, people based in Hounslow? Thank you.
Hi, I'll talk. It's Parul here. I've started working at Volunteer Centre, and I'm very sorry that you've had a bad experience with us. I'm going to put my email in the chat, so get hold of me. We can have a conversation, and I can show you how our fabulous database works and get you some volunteers. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. It's not only about volunteers, but we also distribute our, projects through, Ealing Hounslow CVS, but no participants come through the website, because as we know, Ealing Hounslow CVS has many members. So there should be some people who can join our, activities or Zoom classes. Unfortunately, no, I mean, many people are not aware, and you are doing so fantastic job, you all, whether in everyone. So what I'm, suggesting that there should be something you can increase the visibility through Facebook ads, through LinkedIn, so many other sources. So that can help local organizations like us to get more experienced people who can support our projects.
I hear you loud and clear. I've just put my email in the chat. So why don't you email me, and then I can set up a call with you. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, welcome.
Rahila, if I may add to that, if you also send us details of events that you're organizing, we do put it up on a calendar, which is connected to all the organizations on our database. So if you could also send me details of any events that
sure. In the past, have done this, but honestly, we haven't I know it's very hard, time is very hard. So, but I want to say that how you can increase the visibility through Facebook ads, all other, if you have budget, so that we invest our time, because we have limited resources. We have to invest time in uploading those applications, forwarding those things. So we want to see whether we are doing all this within our budget, within our resources. That's what. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to add to that, we have recently been working on having our extensive database updated, and it is, it's our privilege to take your events and add it to our calendar, which is connected to a lot of people. I will put down my email address, and you can send me any important events that you're having, and I can add it onto our calendar, which will be connected to all of you, and all of you can see it. So I will put down my email address on the chat box for you now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, hi, sorry, could I just say, if we could have a chat as well, I could perhaps look at how we can aid your distribution and raising your profile, so that you can get your events out through as many multimedia channels on social media as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Just send me an email and we'll look at that. All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks to Mukesh for speaking. Thanks everybody for a really good discussion. A lot of very important issues have been raised there, so I hope you're finding the meeting useful. So I've put a link into SurveyMonkey link in the chat to give us feedback. Obviously, we need to get feedback for our monitoring reports, and also you can give us an idea of how we can improve, what kind of topics to cover in future. Next week, I think we'll be looking at sort of health in general. So yeah, we will send information about signing up for that over the next week. And yeah, thanks everybody for attending, and hope to see you at the next meeting.
Yeah, Ian, just a quick one. A topic maybe for because we've been talking about the loneliness and the BAME community. Would a topic like financial inclusion be an appropriate topic for this? Because I'm sure that one of the things that's coming out of the COVID thing is, which I'm finding, is that there are a number of people who are having financial issues, and also now because of this £20 universal credit issue, that's adding to the problem of heat or eat scenario. So I was just wondering if you wanted to, perhaps, I'm happy to be a speaker to support you on financial inclusion, and maybe we might get a couple of other speakers in about financial inclusion and how you can support your clients and members. Just a thought.
Yeah, well, and if there's any other speakers you think would be very good on that topic, then yeah, just suggest them to us, because obviously you're the participants. This network is for you, so you should tell us what you want to think should be the important topics, and then we can support you in that way. So yeah, thanks again, and I'll send slides, my funding slides afterwards, and again with the SurveyMonkey link as well. We haven't got time now to fill in the feedback form.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody, and see you next week hopefully.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.